Life and therapy are great models for each other. Now, what do I mean by that? Life is like therapy, and therapy is like life. Let me explain. Back when I was a therapist, I had a lot of people come in who wanted to be different. They wanted something different in their life. They had their present state, which is the sum total of everything they are at that moment, what they're thinking internally, how much money they're making, how fit they are. Their entire life is their present state. And they had a target state, which is where they wanted their life to go. And in order to make someone happy, we had to take their present state, which might be anxious, unhappy. They might want to be calm, relaxed, and happy. That's the target state. We have to move them from the present state through the addition of resources to the target state. Then everything changes. That's therapy. But it's life too, because you right now have a present state, the sum total of everything going on in your life, what your beliefs are, how you feel about everything, what you're telling yourself internally. All of these things constitute your present state. And you probably have a target state too. You may just not consciously know what it is. And it's very important to understand this. Life is a series of shifts. We are consistently moving from a hypothetical present state with all its components that's too hard to unpack. There's millions of bits and pieces in it, but then there's this hypothetical target state as well. Whether we are happy and want to be happier, it's our life we're trying to improve, or we're messed up and we want to be happy, whatever it is, we are always looking for this transition from the present state to the target state. Here's where language gets interesting. If you use why questions, you can actually mess up your problem state, make it even worse. For example, let's say somebody's depressed, quite often, which isn't easy to do. It takes a bit of work. But let's say someone is depressed and you're trying to help the person and failing because they are focused on the present state. If you ask them, why are you depressed? You're putting the entire focus on the present state. And they'll evaluate it. Their brain will unpack the question and they'll say, well, I'm depressed because I got fired from work. I don't like where I'm living. There's cockroaches in my basement. My best friend's an idiot. All of these things, they will say that will fortify and enhance this present state, assuming it's true. When you ask a why question, why am I so stupid? Why did this screw up? It does nothing whatever to move you from the present state to the target state. So, that's the first thing. When you are attempting to help someone or yourself, don't use why and aim it at the past. Why did this happen? Why did this go wrong? Why have these things screwed up again? It's not a good question. It's not useful. Don't aim your why questions at your present state. Well, we'll get to how you can use them in a minute. First of all, in order to move someone from a present state to a target state, you want to ask how questions. How questions are process questions. Remember I said you have your target state by the addition of resources, which could be financial, new things you learn, whatever, friends who help you. We move you from the present state to the target state. How questions get you there. How can I get smarter is way better than why am I stupid? How can I get smarter and have a blast doing it is a really good question. Let your brain answer that because your brain will answer whatever questions you give it. You have to move from your present state to your target state using process questions. The most powerful process question is one we call the magic question, and it's what do you want? When you ask yourself or someone else, what do you want? Guess what? People typically answer with what they don't want. Well, I don't want to be unhappy. Yeah, but what you don't want is an infinite list. You don't want to be a tin miner on Jupiter. You don't want to build a bonfire in your bed. You don't want to do root canals on yourself, even if you can do it for free. I mean, the list of what you do not want is infinite. So instead, you want to focus on what you do want. And when you ask, what do you want? Guess what? You are identifying the target state. And when you identify the target state, your brain can start moving towards it. So when you get stuck or anyone else gets stuck, ask the magic question. Not why are you depressed? Why are you angry? Why did this screw up? No. Stay away from the present state and ask, what do you want? And the next question is, what do you have to do to get it? Break it down into small pieces, small chunks, and you can get there. So that's the basic method of moving towards a target state. But there are times when you can utilize why in a useful way. Aiming why at the present state, we've seen, unpacks problems and amplifies them. You can test this on anyone. Find somebody you work with who's irritable all the time. Go up to them and say, why are you so irritable all the time? Bang! You'll put them right in that state, amplify it, and they'll give you all the reasons that will support it. But why isn't necessarily a toxic question. If you aim it at the future instead of at the past or at the present state, you'll find it's much more useful. A great why question is, why might this be a great idea? Why might this be a useful thing to do? You are opening up possibilities, new pathways to improvement, to a better life. It's fine to ask that kind of why question. Ask it about why might this be terrific. This is all from the wonderful book by Dr. Michael Pantalone, which is called Instant Influence. He teaches the power of using why in this regard, and I applaud him for doing it. It's brilliant. So, don't ask why you got a problem. Don't ask why things screwed up, but asking why this might be a great idea, it gets you moving very, very quickly. It opens future possibilities. Let your brain develop those kinds of answers to that question. So why is terrible, aimed at the present state? Why is great, aimed at future possibilities? Why might this whole thing be a great thing for you to implement right away?